Some folks think living out in the country means peace and quiet, just cows, blue sky, and a neighborly wave from across the field. That's what I thought too until the day the HOA president tried to steal my land, my creek, and nearly broke my family just to prove she could. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, I wish it was. It all started with a scream, a sound that slices right through your soul and leaves everything else behind. I was mending the back fence that afternoon, sweat dripping down my back when Lily's voice carried on the wind. I didn't hesitate. Dropped my tools, tore through the underbrush, heart thrashing against my ribs like a wild thing desperate to escape. I crashed through the cottonwoods at Miller Creek and froze, rage boiling up before I could even make sense of it. Karen Peterson, 5 feet tall, pure vinegar and self-appointed queen of the Harmony Hills HOA, was yanking on the reins of Starlight, my daughter's Palomino mare. Lily, 16, stood her ground, but her knuckles were white on the saddle horn. Starlight danced nervously, eyes rolling, and Karen, clipboard in hand like she was about to sign some royal decree, was yelling at my daughter. "Get off my community's water access, you little trespasser." It made my blood run cold. There was Lily's phone on the ground screen, shattered Karen's doing for sure. My girl, the toughest soul I know, was shaking. But she stood tall. "This is our property, Mrs. Peterson. We ride here all the time." Karen just spat back. "Not anymore. This creek's HOA property now, and I'm calling the authorities." That's when I stepped out from the trees. "No need, Karen," I said as calm as I could manage. "The authorities are already here." I had my badge on my chest and the law at my back, but all I could see was my kid's scared face. Karen's spun eyes bulging, caught out like she'd just seen a ghost. But she wasn't backing down. That wasn't her style. "Sheriff Brody," she crowed, puffing up. "Arrest this girl for trespassing." I went straight to Lily, checked her over, made sure she was safe. She slid off Starlight and just about collapsed in my arms. 2 of my deputies, Miller and Davis, pulled up. Karen had already called 911, screeching about criminal trespass at my address. They got out, taking in the scene, and I could feel the tension, a storm about to break. I pulled the deed from my pocket, edges worn thin from years in my glove box. "This is my land, Karen. Miller Creek runs straight through it." Lily isn't trespassing. She just scoffed, thrusting her clipboard in my face, barking about new HOA bylaws and community enjoyment. She waved that paper like it could erase 100 years of Brody family history. "Karen," I said, slow, patient, like talking to a mule that keeps kicking the fence, "that's not how land or law works." But she'd made up her mind, and I saw something ugly flicker behind her eyes. Next thing I know, she swings that clipboard and cracks me across the cheek. Pain flared sharp and sudden, and I tasted blood. Everything stopped for a second. Lily gasped. My deputies stiffened. Karen smirked, proud of herself, like she'd finally proven something. But I was done. "Karen Peterson, you're under arrest for assaulting a peace officer." Her face fell, but she tried to bluster. "You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president." I couldn't help but laugh, bitter short. Funny that wasn't in the exemption list at the academy. I cuffed her myself. The metal snapped shut, echoing across the creek, and that was that. She glared daggers at me as the deputies took her to the cruiser. Even then, the look she gave me made my skin crawl. Promised revenge plain as day. Sarah met me at the house. One look at my face and she knew. "Karen," she asked, already angry, already worried. I nodded. "It's handled. She's arrested." But I could still feel that icy glare burning between my shoulder blades. "We bought this ranch a decade ago, wanted open skies, honest work, a place to raise Lily where the world made sense. Our land had history. Brody land before the HOA was a glint in anyone's eye. The Harmony Hills HOA, though, had crept up right along the edge, bringing city rules and busybodies who thought they could boss the land around. Karen Peterson, newly crowned queen, was the worst of them. She'd complained about cattle, the road dust, even Sarah's wildflowers. Always with a new rule, always itching for a fight. I handled her the way you handle a wild bull: never turn your back, never show fear, and never let her see you sweat. That's where Grant comes in, neighbor, friend, and full-time collector of junk and conspiracy theories. He says Karen's a lizard person, and I almost believe him sometimes. She never blinks, Sheriff, and she hates my rooster Elvis. Only a reptile would hate Elvis. He's also the first to bring me Karen's latest public waterway notice, stapled to a fence post, nowhere near the HOA's real border. She's declared your creek a swimming pool, he snorted. Wants to put paddle boats on it. I laughed, then called my lawyer, who laughed too. She can't do it, he assured me. But Karen wasn't bluffing. She called an HOA meeting. I would never thought I'd step inside their clubhouse, but you do what you have to. The room was lemon polish and plastic smiles. Karen at the head of the table, board members nodding like dashboard dogs. I laid it all out calmly, fact by fact, but she cut me off. Old maps, old ways, Sheriff. We're progressive. The board voted, and she wasn't joking about paddle boats. I told her flat out, retract the notice, respect the boundaries, and we'd let it go. She just smiled cold and thin. I don't think so. The new rules stand. It wasn't about rules, it was about power. I left that meeting knowing we were at war. Things got quiet, which is always a bad sign. Then in the dead of night, my phone rings, barn's on fire. Sarah and I raced out, sky-burning orange men fighting the flames, cattle loose. Manny shaking told me they couldn't get to Starlight. By dawn, the barn was gone, and so was Lily's horse. Doc Jenkins, the vet, found her body poisoned before the fire. I can't explain that kind of pain. It hollowed me out. But I wasn't about to let evil win. I checked the trail cams. 2 melted, but the 3rd survived. And on it, 3 figures, gas cans, bolt cutters. One was Kyle Peterson, Karen's son. And out by the road, a car waiting. Somebody else was pulling the strings. I brought the footage to Sarah, watched her face harden. Whoever was hiding in that car, whoever poisoned Starlight, thought they could drive us out. That's when you have to make a choice. Do you fight fire with fire, or do you stand on what's right? The law had to be my weapon, not vengeance. I called the judge, got the warrants, pulled in deputies I could trust. At dawn, we hit 3 houses. Kyle's his friends. Grant brought donuts, tried to volunteer his spud gun. Kyle tried to run, but he broke down, sobbing. It was Mom, she made me. One of the cronies bolted for the ranch toward Lily. I caught up in the mesquite thicket. He was about to use her as a shield. I tackled him hard like every father would. With them in cuffs, I started digging. Grant, bless his tinfoil hat, found a manila envelope in Karen's trash emails with Marcus Thorne, a developer. Karen promised him creek access and rezoning in exchange for cash. The fire, the poison, all part of making us desperate so we'd sell. Turns out the car in the video was a getaway car for Thorne's men. The prosecutor, Helen Cartwright, sharp as a tack, tough as nails, took the case. Karen, Thorne, Kyle, all charged. The trial was a circus. Karen sat high and mighty until Lily took the stand, my girl voice trembling but strong. She talked about Starlight, the peace she found by the creek, the terror, the loss. You could have heard a pin drop. The jury didn't take long. Guilty all counts. Karen sobbed. Thorne scowled. The judge threw the book at them. Jail time, fines, the HOA hit for $250,000. Some of it to start an animal rescue fund in Starlight's name. The bylaw about the creek thrown out permanently. In the weeks after, life found a new rhythm. Lily mourned, but she started to heal. We rebuilt the barn. Neighbors, even former HOA folks, brought food and apologies. Sarah and I found peace again. And for Lily's birthday, we brought home a new foal, a palomino she named Dawn. It was like watching hope get born all over again. Looking back, I see the lesson clear as a Texas sunrise. The world's full of folks who think power means you can take what you want. But justice, real justice, means standing your ground the right way, even when it hurts, even when it's slow. I could have gone for revenge, but then what would I have taught my daughter true strengths in holding the line without crossing it? Grant threw a big barbecue, his victory banner reading, "Lizard Queen deposed." He handed me Karen's old lilac perfume bottle, now full of jalapeno jelly, for your desk, Sheriff, just in case. I laughed, first real laugh in months. Now as the sun sets over Miller Creek, I watch Lily sketching horses by the water, the ranch peaceful again. Life isn't the same, but maybe it's stronger for what we went through. Sometimes the fight comes to you whether you want it or not, but if you face it with courage and a little help from your friends, no matter how odd, you can come through the fire and still be yourself. But I wonder, where's the line? How far should a person go to defend what's theirs? What would you have done in my boots? Was justice served, or did we just get lucky this time? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Tell me where you draw the line between right and wrong, or share a time you had to stand up for yourself or your family. Let's talk about what justice really means out here where the world's a little wilder and a man's word still counts for something.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video của mình.